You guys, I'm back with Janier. The last conversation that we had was with me, her, and Alma, and I already had a discussion with Alma, and I'm presenting Janier with the same question. So we're just going to kind of feed off of one another, and what our conversation is going to be talking about is how people build walls or set up boundaries that keeps them from being affected by different things in life. So I'm just going to jump it off by asking Janier. Janier, would you say there's a difference or similarity with boundaries and walls?
I think there's a similarity, but then there's a slight difference. So I think boundaries and walls are is something where you're trying to keep something out or away or limited access, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that boundaries would be more of a limitation. You have limited access to me, so you only get me on certain occasions or whatever the case may be. A wall to me is I know you can't come in,
Yeah.
right? Because walls are sturdy, right? There's no holes, there's no windows, no door. It's a wall, and so that just means no, you can't come in. You don't have access to me.
Mm-hmm.
So boundaries to me is like limited access. Wall is like no access.
Yeah. And that's kind of the scenario or the idea that I gave when talking to Alma, because there are some walls, however, that allow the entryway of course, and the windows that causes or allows people to see in and out. And when people have those boundaries up as well, the perception or the thing that I got in mind was when they have different fences set up.
Mm,
You got gates that got the openings where you can easily see, and then you got the privacy fences for those if you have a home and you don't want anybody to know your business or know what's going on. You got the privacy fences. And
mhm.
to me, those are, like you said, the limitations and what keeps people away. Now, when I was looking up the actual definition of both of them, I'm gonna go ahead and read both of them if
Okay.
that's okay, so that people can get an understanding. Um, so the definition that I found for boundary was a line that marks the limits of an area, and it's a dividing line.
Mhm.
And then when I looked up what the definition is for a wall, give me 1 second and I'll explain that. It's a continuous vertical brick or stone structure that encloses or divides an area of land.
Mhm.
So the word, of course, that stuck out to me was division and
Mhm.
separation. So if we're doing all these things that cause or that brings about the division or the separation, what will be the cause that you may say that people put up walls or set their boundaries? What causes them to do that?
Interesting that you said. I had a session today with a young lady at work, and so we talked about that because she has established a friendship with someone who she has noticed doesn't really particularly fit her what she thought what she needed from a friend.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I mentioned this last time about fist friends and having those qualities, and if you
Yeah.
need to keep them, and then there's associates, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so she put this young lady as a friend. And she likes her, they get along well, but she's noticing that the friend, every time they sit down to chat, is always a draining conversation. It's always the what was me. It's she wants to talk about her problems, which is fine because if that's your friend, you want to kind of exchange and support and things of that nature. But it's every time
Yeah.
they connect, it's discussing the problems in her past, whatever that's going on. And she's having to pour and pour into this friendship and pour and pour and pour, and it's exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
So today we talked about, well, let's talk about that. I was like, what are you gonna do? And she's like, well, I'm gonna sit down and write out what I want to say to her because I don't want to hurt her feelings. But I don't want to be that sole person. I said, okay, I hear you. And so I said, well, who else does she um hang around? Who else are her friends?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and she said, well, she has friends, but I'm the one that she always comes to. And the other friends don't really give her the time of day for that kind of stuff. I said, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I said, so what I think has happened, the reason why those friends have put up a wall or either a boundary is because they noticed that she was a little bit draining and exhausting, and that's
Mm-hmm.
not what they wanted from their friendship. I said, now you're seeing the same thing. So you're going to have to set those parameters on what you need. I said, either you're going to move her to the associate pal where you set a boundary and she has limited access to you, or you're
Mm-hmm.
going to talk with her and keep her in your friendship, or you're gonna put up a wall and
Mm-hmm.
say, you know what, I can't do this. You know what I mean? So you have to figure that thing out. So
Yeah, and it becomes a strain too, or for those who are kind-hearted and want to be there for other people, but when they're always coming at you with the same thing, it kind of makes you think, well, is there something wrong with me, or
uh-huh.
either am I not saying enough? Am I not being as supportive as they would want us to be?
Mhm.
Because you do have those who want a pity party every time. You got to be on point with it, or else they just gonna feel like, okay, no, you're not a friend. That's not how
That's
it
not
should be.
right.
If you consider yourself a friend, like, let me give you the type of response I need to give you, so that you know that, okay, if I'm not talking to you, something may be wrong. But if I'm talking to you and trying to offer something to you, then just accept what I have. If you don't have to take everything, just take what you need and
Yeah.
then just go on about your business. But
Right.
there are some where and we were also talking about the business that we shared last time too. Not letting everybody know everything,
Right.
because maybe she has exposed herself to one too many people. And that's
And
why you were saying too, we just gotta.
uh-huh. Yeah. So yeah, I'm glad you said that because she has started to, because she's trying to comfort her and support her and things of that nature, and be that friend. She's starting to share things about her that she wasn't really ready to share yet with this person.
Mhm.
Just to say, well, it's okay because I did, I've been there, I did this, I had this happen to me, which she really wasn't ready to share, but she shared it because she's trying to comfort her, trying to be a good
Mhm.
friend. So yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then just being careful with what you share too, because the conversation came up to where it's like we don't know who to trust, because a lot of people still have those trust issues. They may not show it or say it a lot, but it's like if I share way too much, then somewhere down the road somebody is bound to use what I said against
Mhm.
me, or and it just causes some people to feel like I got to keep everything to myself. And
Yeah.
I always talked about how I bottled up some things, and I think that that's a part of those wall buildings, because you don't you do any and everything to put something in front of you to keep that hurt from coming your way.
Mhm. Mhm.
um and it's just like having blinds on the windows. You don't want too much sunlight to come in. You don't want too much of
Mhm.
what can be exposed to others.
Yep.
So I was going to ask too, is it something we should risk trying to tear down for ourselves or others to knock down for them if we notice those walls, like even with the example of what you gave? um
So what do you mean? So risk putting them down is what you're asking?
Yeah. So
Okay.
for example, if someone has noticed that we have a wall up, is it worth tearing down that wall so that they can get in, or is it worth us telling someone, or yeah, is it worth us trying to help someone tear down their walls that they have built up?
So we're trying to get in.
Yeah, either way. Yeah.
Okay. There's a risk either way.
It's a risk either way.
It's
Okay.
a risk either way. So either, so if somebody has a wall up, and you're trying to get in, and there's pressure, right? And
Mhm.
you're throwing, you got your axe and your hammers and whatever, you're trying to get in, you're trying to get in. You could eventually just drive that person completely away. Or once you do get that wall down, you may not want what's behind it.
Mhm.
So there are reasons why people have stuff up, and you got to be careful pressuring people or being, persistent, too persist, overly persistent,
Mhm.
with people who have those things. You've got to give them time, to kind of trust you, that
Mhm.
you trust them, and all that kind of thing, and it'll slowly, kind of lower. But if it's up, just give them time, um,
Mhm.
and allow them to establish that trust and rapport with you first, and then they'll start to kind of peek over, the top of the wall every now and again, and see what's over there. But if it's up, it's up for a reason. And
Mhm.
again, it's a risk on either end. If you get it down, you may not like what's there and
Mhm.
regret it, So
And that was my question last time that I was trying to form with the whole trespassing, because you have those who are so eager to know what's going on and why and how they can help, because if there's some people that's just like me, is like, I want to know, I want to find out how I can help. But
Mhm.
if you're not welcoming my help, 9 times out of 10, I'll just go on and just hope that things will be okay for you after a while. But I do understand that some people do go through some things, and it takes them some time to either process it mentally, or either just find out what is going on and
Mhm.
why it's happening to them, or even if it's a repeated cycle, because there are those repeated cycles where it happened to maybe their parents or a relative of theirs, or even a friend, and how they share things in common. But it's like you said, it's that risk taking. Like, do you want to risk sharing all that? Do you want to risk having your almost your whole life exposed to somebody that you don't even know is going to be there for the long haul? Because
Mhm.
they can want to know your business, but then they'll go on, and it's like, I just gave them a part of
E-
my whole being, and it's
Exactly. I actually have a partial wall
mm-hmm,
right now, just because of what I talked about the last
mm-hmm,
last chat with you. Um,
mm-hmm,
and so now I've got a couple people that, we've been kind of, hanging out and dinner and cocktails, things of that nature. And I think they're great ladies. However, because of what happened before, I'm just like,
yeah, yeah,
you know what I mean? Like I don't know,
mm-hmm,
and I think I mentioned last time too, if I call you a friend, I mean that.
mm-hmm,
That you have access to me. I've given you access to me as a friend, and that's huge.
mm-hmm,
And I need you to honor that, because what, like, everybody doesn't get to be called my friend. Um,
mm-hmm.
and so I'm just seeing, with these ladies, just seeing what's going on. But I've noticed that I'm not very forthcoming.
Mhm.
Everything is surface. You know what I mean? It's very
Mhm.
surface. And I also I'm hyper, I guess, kind of sensitive when people ask things of me, because
Mhm.
before I was giving, like, yeah,
Yeah.
come over and do this. And I will, no, 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 bring anything. We got it. Go, no, 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 no. And
Mhm.
now I'm just like, why you want to come
Yeah.
over here?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not,
Mhm.
ooh. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. So I get it from that perspective, because I'm in it right now. So.
Yeah. And it's that limited access too, like you were saying, because to have the power to say no, not everybody has that either. And that no puts that limit there for people to not be able to go as far as they thought they could go once before. Because if
Mhm.
I was telling you all my business before, and now I'm kind of just retracting that and just like, oh, okay, yeah, it's a reason. So
Mhm.
and hopefully people will take that hint, because everybody moves differently as they grow or as they get older, or whatever the case is. But
Mhm.
just because we was kicking it then, yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
no, don't mean we have to have the same conversation, because there is that, like you were saying earlier, there are those who still talking about the same thing in the older ages that they was talking about
Yeah.
when they was younger. You ain't grew
Yep.
out of that yet?
Yep.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Is it possible to overprotect the fears, insecurities, habits, or behaviors, or anything else that affects us? I'll give an entry into why I'm asking this question, because um, as our parents, I don't know if anything has happened with you as far as the way you were parented, or even the way you parent your children now. The things that we notice that we don't do, that we got a chance to do when we were younger, or on the flip side, what we don't do that, well, doing what we didn't get a chance to do, or
Mhm.
not doing what we had the opportunity to do. So and then a lot of that came from fear. So for example, when I was talking to Alma, the thing that I was most into was hearing over the pulpit how um it's okay to wait for marriage, as far as the whole sex thing, and then being married, and then once you find that right one, or once the right one comes, then you're able to be deeply in love. And I'm paraphrasing, because it always felt like they were given this fairy tale of what a marriage would be like. And not to say that I diss weddings and marriages or anything like that, because I desire it again, but at the same time, it's like certain things cause me to put up that wall. Certain things cause me to have my boundaries. It's like I can't tell you everything. I can't tell you what I would like in a guy, or I can't tell you what I would like in a friend. You just gonna have to find out for yourself who I am, and I gotta find out who you are. But
Mm-hmm.
at that same time, it's like I only tell them so much, I only go so far. And even though I sense that it could be a fear in some cases, or that insecurity that kicked in very heavily before, it's like I'm starting to see the insecurities fade away. But with the overprotection, that's what I felt my mom was shielding me from, uh being exposed to guys at an early age, um, possibly the way that she was, and not getting into something that I can't really get myself out of, or felt like I couldn't really handle. So that overprotection came from her. Like, I can't talk to this guy. I can't do this. I can't go out with these friends. So I was just like, what do I
Mm-hmm.
do?
Mm-hmm.
So now that I have all these feelings coming against me, and as I got older, I felt like I was protecting those things so that they won't be, taken advantage of. So is it possible to overprotect what we have behind the wall, or to protect what we are keeping a limit on? I don't know if that makes sense at all.
I think I'm with you. I think so. I hear you saying. Well, to me, what I hear you saying is, can we overprotect someone, or like our little ones, from things that we've already experienced, or no, or yeah, experienced,
Mhm.
that was unpleasant, because we
Mhm.
don't want them to do it or go through it?
Right.
And the answer is yes. I think we can. We have a tendency to overprotect, or put up fences and things around our children because we don't want them to go through those experiences. Now, is that particularly healthy? Um, I say yes or no, depending on what it is.
Mhm.
Um, no, I'm not going to allow my girls to go visit, people of the opposite sex in middle school, or have male company in their room, or period,
Mhm.
in this house. No, no, I'm not doing that. And that's the same thing that I have with my mom. But will I allow them to, was something she shielded me from? Will I allow them to express themselves if
Mhm.
they disagree with something that I've said?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that, you did not get to do. I did not get to do that
Mhm.
as a youth growing up. It was, this is what I said. That's it. That's all.
Yeah.
And do it. I think conversation and healthy expression of emotion, and family debates and conversation is good for the
Mhm.
family, and good to help children develop confidence to talk to adults. Because even now, even though I'm all the way grown, I
Mhm.
still find it odd when I have to talk to someone in authority.
Right.
Right? Not that I'm trying to be my child's friend or anything like that, because they know better, but
Mhm.
but I want them to be open, and free to say, you know what, mom, yesterday when we did so and so, I really didn't like that because this. Maybe next
Yeah.
time can we do blah 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 blah? And I go, you got a point. Okay, well, let's try your way next time.
Mhm.
I didn't get to, I didn't get to do that
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
Uh, and so I think I kind of answered your question. So in regards of protecting them from self-expression or having
Mhm.
an opinion,
Mhm.
uh, I don't want to do that because that was done to me.
Mhm.
Um, Morals, boys and things of that nature, I'm going to do that because that's needed.
Yeah.
They're not mature enough, mentally or physically, to deal with those type of things right now. We
Okay.
have to ease our way into that. I don't know if that, does that make sense?
It does. And I think the way I was asking it was going one direction, but the way you answered it kind of brought it home to where it's
Okay.
like, yeah, I what is behind the wall is me and mine's. And I don't want to uh enforce fear on her, or put it on her, put that pressure of fear on her, or insecurities, because if we're protecting them from those things, then that lessens that. And like you were saying, with them talking to you, I allow her to talk to me as well, like to have those conversations, that I didn't really feel I got a chance to have.
Mhm.
And to form my opinion and to hear what hers is, what she
Mhm.
likes and dislikes. I just felt like if I dislike something, I gotta keep it to
Keep
myself.
it to yourself. You better.
If
You better not
I
say nothing.
Yes, and almost like I don't get offended. I don't get offended when she at least I don't think I do. She'll probably tell me. Um well, it is sometimes where it's just like she tells me the harsh truth, but it's what's needed
Mhm.
because again, there was a lot of things that I didn't really get that I kind of desired and wanted. And it gives us a chance to nurture them in a different way so that they won't be fearful,
Right.
so that they won't have or experience so much pain or bitterness at all if it
Mhm.
even comes about with certain people. And I know you said even with the opposite sex, that was one of our conversations the other day. And well, we had a conversation. I was letting her know if you end up liking somebody, just let me know,
Mhm.
so that we can talk through that, because I don't want her to ever feel like she can't come and talk to me about any and everything, because I know a lot of parents say that their open floor policy or whatnot. I mean my floor is open, but yet there are some things that we have to talk through in order to make sure that you have an understanding, I have an understanding, and I don't miscommunicate anything based on what I thought I was taught or thought I learned,
Mhm.
because it's very much different now,
Yeah.
what they're learning. So that was my thing as far as the whole overprotection, because we can protect them, and yet I don't want to overprotect what I want her to experience for herself, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So
It
there
does.
will be some fears, there will be some uncertainties about certain ones, but yeah.
Yeah. I think when we overprotect or we're hyper independent, hyper whatever, I
Hmm.
think that all stems from some sort of trauma. Personally,
Hmm.
because you don't want it to happen again. So, no, I got it. You don't want help. You got it. And
Hmm.
that's just not healthy. That's not healthy either.
Hmm.
So you've gotta take the risk
Yeah.
of, putting a window in that wall and let some sunshine through so somebody can see you. So
That sunshine, not them flashlights from people trying to be nosy now. You got
right,
different
right.
kind of lighting,
It's a different
as you
light.
can
You're right.
see. Strange lighting. There we go. That I mean that's pretty much it. And even with overstepping boundaries, I know that, so basically from our understanding is that walls are okay to put up because they pretty much guard you from certain things and situations that you don't want to re-experience or go through again. And then there are some other kind of walls, because even when we look at the actual structures of different walls, you have ones that's drywall, you have ones that's easily able to be broken through, and the brick walls, different kinds of walls.
Mhm.
So there are some that are good, that are for the protection part, and then there's others that start to wear and tear after a while. So
Yeah.
it's those kind of walls that we are trying to rid ourselves of or get rid of or tear down, so
Yeah.
that we won't um divide ourselves or separate ourselves from the right people or the people
Right.
that's trying to help us.
Right. Right. Because total isolation isn't good
Hmm.
either. So.
Yeah.
mm,
So solitude and isolation, to me, those are kind of two different things. You can be by yourself, but you're not alone. But yet you
mhm.
don't want to stay by yourself for a long period of time, because I personally wonder about certain people when I hear or see or sense that they're alone, like maybe in a room or off to themselves, trying to handle everything on their own. You got help.
Yep.
Use
Yep.
it. It's
Yep.
okay. And I know
Yep.
I go off on my moments sometimes where it's like I don't want to be bothered. To me, I have that sense of okay, I don't I'm by myself enough, so I can go back out into the crowd or whatever.
Uh-huh. Hmm.
But yeah, it's healthy, like you said, to not isolate yourself for too
Yeah.
long.
For not too long. Right. Right.
Too
Right.
long. Is there anything else you want to share? Anything else you want to give advice for?
No, I think I think we did good.
Yes, yes, yes. I don't want to hold you, like I said. I just wanted to talk back on that subject. Thank you again for sharing your
Yeah.
situations and all that. Continue to do what you've been doing with the friends and the associates and what you've been doing as far as helping the young people as well. Because we have a
Oh,
heart for them and we have a heart to help them
yes.
to learn the difference in a lot of things that we didn't get a chance to learn from. So that's great that you're doing that.
Well, thank you, girl.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I will talk to you soon.
All right, honey.
All righty.
Bye.
See ya. See ya. See ya.